Look, I don't want to be a downer guy who just hates on whatever new stuff is put. Like, I don't care. Okay, I'm super duper excited for the Elder Scrolls remake. I think it's going to be great, especially if they shadow drop it like this. That would be such a fun little precedent to set. However, as the title of the video suggests, I do think it's a bigger deal than people might think at first. Some people might see it as a, just like, oh yeah, they just gave it a quick remaster, sort of hand it off to another studio, let them remaster it, release it, like, cool, it's great, and then we'll just sort of move on. And, like, to a certain extent, yeah, Oblivion already exists, which is cool, so it's not a huge deal. However, I do think that there's going to be a lot of stuff attached to this, a lot of aftermath that we might not realize. A few of you guys might be willing to point out that Bethesda isn't the one, like, really making this game. It's the other studio that they sort of passed it off to. It's not the people who just, like, made Starfield are making this game. It's a little bit different than that, so you can't draw the direct correlation. So I get that, where, like, if this game fails, it's not going to ruin the people, and if it does do bad, it's not Todd Howard's fault and like any of those developers from Starfield, because they are just different people working on it. When we really think about it, I think that might actually be a bigger hurt to Bethesda than help. Because let's say it, well, okay, let's assume it goes the Bethesda route that Bethesda things have gone lately, and it's just terrible. It looks kind of good, and then it's just buggy and bad and poorly written, and all the changes suck, and they ruin a perfectly good Elder Scrolls game with a remaster. Let's just say all that happens, and it's a huge nightmare, and everyone hates it, and it's ruined with microtransactions, whatever. Then it just makes Bethesda look bad. Even if the other studio made it, it still makes Bethesda look bad. It still puts a bad taste in people's mouth for Elder Scrolls content. Especially like Elder Scrolls 6 and stuff, right? It's going to be a lot harder to get hyped for it if the remaster does bad. And then it hurts the chance of other remasters, because if this remaster does bad, they'll probably cancel or delay the Fallout one that's, sort of rumored to be in the works. And if it does bad, they're definitely not going to remaster like Morrowind or the older stuff. So that's why, if it does bad, that's a pretty big deal. That would suck, right? So let's hope that is not the case. But also, if it does good, let's be real here, it's probably going to be fine. It's probably not going to be as bad as Starfield. I'm sure it's going to be good, because at its core, it's still Oblivion, and Oblivion was good. So even if the changes are for the worse, it's probably not going to be terrible. However, if it is really good, that also still is kind of a loss for Bethesda. If it's bad, it's a huge loss. If it's good, it's still kind of a loss, because now we're going to have all the comparisons, right? People will say, well, Oblivion was so much better than Starfield. Like, how come you couldn't do that? And when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, there's actually a pretty good chance this Oblivion remaster will actually look better than Elder Scrolls 6 because of the engine. For those who don't know, Oblivion is happening in the Unreal Engine, whereas Elder Scrolls 6 is still in the Creation Engine, so there's a very real possibility that this Oblivion remake will actually just be graphically better than the Elder Scrolls 6, which could be very interesting. So that's why I'm wondering, like, if this game does really well, will it make Elder Scrolls 6 look bad in comparison? Will people say, oh, it looks so much worse, it plays so much worse? That would be really weird and interesting for Bethesda if they get upstaged by their old games, but I guess they've been getting upstaged by their old games for a while now, so it makes sense. So there's an issue there. Also, if it does really well, people will have even more fingers to point at Bethesda, because again, it's by a different studio. Bethesda's not the one making it. So let's say this Oblivion remaster does super well. All the changes they make are really good, and it's all around like an amazing game. It still makes Bethesda look bad, because then people will say, Bethesda, why can't you do this? They make like the Shattered Space DLC for Starfield, and everyone sort of agrees, like, yeah, looks like Bethesda just doesn't have the touch they used to have. They're not doing it as well. They can't really pump out great content anymore. But this studio can. And if this random studio can pump out like a really good Elder Scrolls game and Bethesda can't, I think that'll also speak a lot to the management and the development, Todd Howard, all that stuff. Like that would be kind of embarrassing if a really good Elder Scrolls game gets made and it's not even by them. Anyway, sorry, like, pardon the pretty unscripted, pretty off the fly sort of video here, probably not super heavily edited. Again, I'm super excited for this game. I really hope it does well. I don't want to be a downer, but I do think it's a lot bigger deal for Bethesda's future than people might realize, just for these reasons, because it either does bad and makes them look bad, or it does good and still makes them look bad. Which is why I think Bethesda has to like very carefully handle this release, just to make sure that they don't sabotage themselves by making Elder Scrolls 6 worse in comparison, or by just making this game absolutely terrible. So we'll have to see. Another quick little thing I want to touch on is Sky Oblivion. Now, I don't think they released, like, I don't think they're remastering Oblivion in order to, like, overshadow Sky Oblivion. That's obviously not going to happen, because it takes long enough to remaster this that they couldn't just remaster the whole game between the Sky Oblivion release announcement and now. There's no way. So I don't think it's malicious. But again, the comparisons will go pretty crazy, because even just comparing this Oblivion remaster to Elder Scrolls 6 in the future, or to Oblivion in the past, or to Starfield as far as quality and graphics goes, there's a lot of danger in there for Bethesda as far as comparisons go. But then not only are we going to have to compare it to Bethesda products like similar, we also will have an exact Oblivion to compare it against. So not only are they going to get compared against their other projects that are similar but different, but it's going to be compared against the actual Oblivion remaster. So it's going to be interesting to see that not only are they fighting their past self with the Oblivion remaster, not only are they fighting their present self with the Oblivion remaster, they're also fighting themselves in the future with the Oblivion remaster. And not only that, but they might maybe be fighting the community with the Oblivion remaster because they're going to get compared against Skyblivion, and maybe Skyblivion is just so much better that it makes them look embarrassing, or maybe they're equal and it's a win for everyone. So at the end of the day, I think it's probably going to drop tomorrow. It's probably going to be really good. People are probably going to have fun with it, and I doubt it's going to be absolutely crazy. But I do think it has a pretty big impact on where the series goes, if other stuff gets remastered, if it makes Bethesda look like an idiot, if it makes them look really good. And at the end of the day, I do think it's going to have a little bit bigger of an impact on things than people think. It's not just a remaster. I think it might have a bigger impact on how we look at Bethesda and those games as a whole in the future. But hey, here's to having a good game come out tomorrow. If it does come out tomorrow, you can expect me to stream it, so see me there tomorrow night if it does come out. And last but not least, let's just pray it's not monetized into the ground. Let's pray that it's not $70. And let's pray that it just doesn't flippin' suck. Let's just hope this game is good and we're happy and that tomorrow can be as good as we think it'll be. But yeah, so anyway, I try not to be a news channel, so I'm not really going to keep up with a bunch of like announcements or leaks or anything like that. Thank you for our channel members, you're amazing. I'll go back to making the videos I actually told you I was going to make after this one. I just wanted to make sure I got this out really quick before the news sort of died off and all that. So I'll see you guys next time for like an actual video that I was really working on in a couple days. Goodbye.
I'm a god. How can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence. I'm a god. How can you kill a god?